It's a great day to be a coyote. Welcome, Coyote Nation, to another episode of Back to Pack Podcast, where we are going to be bringing you all of your favorite games, memories, and of course, discussion with our fellow coyotes. As a disclaimer, we have no affiliation to the University of South Dakota. This is a podcast ran by fans for fans. The ideas and comments do not represent the university. Our opinions are our own. Be sure to find us on Twitter at BackToPackSD. With that being said, let's jump in. All right, what's going on, guys? Joey, welcome to the show.
Appreciate it. I'm glad to be here. It feels good to be back talking with some Coyote fans.
You know,
man, what a lineup, Jake. We've had three true Yotes last 3 weeks now. Some super seniors, true Yotes all the way, man. What a star-studded lineup. Fans here.
Yeah. Now, the one thing I'm struggling with, though, when it comes to this, I don't think I can do the introduction properly. So what we're going to do, we're going to rely on our boy Scott Van Pelt to introduce Joey properly. So, give me 1 second here. We'll get this pulled up. Because this was probably one of the best things I've seen with Coyotes on ESPN probably all year.
29, 28.
I wouldn't mess with that guy.
No, that guy could pull a tree out of the ground.
The greatest quote I've heard of describing an O lineman. Now, Joey, can you actually pull a tree out of the ground?
It's funny. When it was the COVID summer, we were actually home for a while over that spring ball period. I worked as an arborist, so I actually did do tree removal. And there's one specific instance of, I would say, like as close as you can get to pulling a tree out of the ground. We were doing a job out in someone's backyard, and it was a new construction, and it had just rained, so there wasn't really any grass, and it was all kind of mud. And we chopped up this big tree, and some of the big chunks of the stump got stuck deep down in the mud. And this was like my first week on the job, and they were telling me to wait to pull them out because I'm not going to be able to do it, and they're going to have to get the heavy equipment out or whatever. And then they went out to their truck to get some of the pulling equipment, and I had them out already. Just yanking them. So it did kind of bring back the memories of being an arborist and working on that kind of stuff from 5 years ago or whatever. But yeah, this is a little ironic.
That's fantastic.
Speaking of trees, your teammate and now roommate here knows how to swing from a tree. How about Travis? Tell us who you're living with and where you're at.
Yeah, so I'm back home in Anoka right now. Obviously, a lot of the guys that just graduated are starting the pro day training process, getting ready for the next level and stuff like that. So naturally, some of the guys picked their place to train in Minneapolis and needed a place to stay. So figured why not invite them to the Lombard household. And right now, Travis, Tice, Carter, Bell, and Nick Gaze, we're all bunked up in the Lombard house, nice and cozy. So yeah, it's been fun. Obviously, it's used to living together with the guys like that. I mean, I've lived with every single one of them at some point throughout my college career, so it's pretty natural already. But yeah, the rope swing video with Travis is funny because that was really my first impression of him. Like, I didn't even think I'd met him yet when that came out. I just remember like moving in and meeting my roommates, and they were like, "Yeah, dude, one of our teammates is going viral right now. He just this rope swing video." And I just remember watching it, and then I just remember the day we met Travis and got to talk about that. So it's kind of funny that I actually saw that video before I met him.
That's awesome.
That's funny.
Yeah.
Hey, shout out Yote fan too. He's in here. By the way, be thinking of a question for him, Yote fan.
Yeah. I will say I do not envy the Lombard grocery bill for the foreseeable future right now.
It's pretty hefty without the extra guys in the house already. Me and my brother grew up. We hammer milk. That was kind of our thing growing up. We think that's how we got as big as we are. Because I don't necessarily come from a lot of height in my family. Like, I don't have really tall relatives or anything. But me and my brother are really the only ones 6'4" and up. So we attribute it to the milk we drank growing up, and it was a lot. So grocery bills have never been low here.
That makes me laugh. So you've watched How I Met Your Mother, correct?
I wasn't an avid watcher, but I've definitely seen episodes. Yeah.
So Marshall, obviously from Minnesota, that's all him and his brother drank, and they're absolute towers too. So I think it has something to do with the Minnesotan milk up there.
Something in the milk.
All right. So I do think Mitch is frozen unless he's just holding that creepy smile for us. I think we lost him for a little bit. So We'll keep moving on. We'll dip right away into recruiting on your side of things. Yep, there he went. So with high school, obviously you grew up in Minnesota. What was your recruiting process like?
Yeah, I think a lot of Minnesota recruits feel this way. Probably a lot of kids that grew up in the Midwest, but there's not a high concentration of high-level football schools out here,
Mm-hmm.
And so obviously being in a bigger state where there's a lot of football competition, it did feel hard to get noticed at times. You really only got the Gophers around here. St. Thomas wasn't a Division I yet. So, being from around here, your goal is kind of get noticed by the Gophers. And I mean, when I was younger, like freshman, sophomore year of high school, FCS schools weren't even really I didn't really know much about them. I'd only been to South Dakota because of Mount Rushmore once. I didn't really know anything about it. So it was a little bit of an adjustment, like hearing from these schools and like kind of taking trips out to places, that are very rural. Obviously, I'm from a suburb of Minneapolis, so that was a little different for me. I'm used to a little more city. But I mean, I had general interest from some of the FCS schools around here and some of the bigger Power 5 schools around here. But felt pretty under-recruited out of high school. I felt like I had really good tape, but I struggled with like showing up to camps and like they're like, all right, now run a 40. And it's like, okay, well, I'm a 17-year-old kid who's never, trained for that in my life. I just get on the field and, run people over is the only thing I knew how to do. So camps and stuff weren't necessarily my thing all the time, but I ended up committing before my senior year of high school, and South Dakota just felt like a really good place. I loved the coaches, and I saw an opportunity to play early, and I saw a program that wanted to invest into me. I saw some of the programs I visited, some I won't name, but maybe rival programs. Some kind of felt like they didn't need us, and that we needed them more than we needed them, and it just wasn't an attitude that I liked, and that just didn't click. And maybe that works for others. I'm not here to crap on other programs, but South Dakota just it was just the right fit, just for my personality and who the coaches were at the time. And I got to meet some of the players on my visits and stuff, and everything clicked really well. So I was very happy going to South Dakota, and it was what it was.
Yeah. Now, you had a little bit of connection with the coaching staff beforehand too. Is that correct?
Yeah. So you see his helmet behind me. UMD helmet. I'll take it down for you guys so you guys can see some of the character behind this thing.
Oh, geez.
It's
seen the better days.
Yeah, it's not what we wear these days. If you can see, I'm sure.
No.
Some of our adult older viewers might know what this is like. But so my dad played football for UMD. He did just mention to me earlier today that he was an all-conference player, so I figure I'll mention that just for
That's
his
awesome.
limelight. But
Awesome.
so growing up, we did follow UMD athletics. I remember a few times as a youth football player, we had to deal with play at UMD one year. They'd come down here one year, and then we'd go catch one of their games whenever we went up there and stuff. So I grew up watching UMD sports, and Coach Nielsen just happened to be coaching there when I was growing up, and got the pleasure to watch, or I think maybe even listen. I think one of them we had to listen to on the radio. I don't know how streamed D2 football was at that time, but we got to experience them winning 2 titles. And at the time, I didn't know that was Coach Nielsen really, or know that was going to be my future football coach. But when I do get to South Dakota, I knew that in the recruiting process then. And then the people who remember Coach Slofsky and Coach Arich were actually players on that team. So it was just kind of a weird moment. I mean, it was cool, but getting a chance to kind of play for coaches that you watched grow up, and I mean, obviously they won championships too, so that was good to know that they knew how to win.
So I do want to bring this comment up to the side from the side here. You're talking about your 40 time at camps. Yo fan would much rather chug a 40 than run a 40, which it does make me laugh because as an O-lineman, obviously you guys have to have the stamina. You're the only one that's truly going 100% every play.
Yeah.
But what does a 40 have to do with an O-lineman?
I'm still waiting. I imagine. I mean, every year in the combine, you see some 6'8", 350-pounder pull a hammy run the 40. It's
Yep.
I imagine it's only a matter of time before they drop it to a 20 for linemen. I'm surprised it hasn't happened yet, to be honest. But
Right.
I mean, you'd be surprised when I say, I mean, when you got a guy like Cron Adams on your team, I ran a lot of 40s chasing him down, for some of those long touchdowns, So it happens, but it might not necessarily matter as much as other parts of a play. Normally it's a good thing when you're on a 40 in a football play. But
Yep.
I'll say like the 10-yard split is all that I really care about for a lineman, honestly.
Yeah, and that's, I mean, when you're training for it, you train everything, but you want to have the good get off, and those numbers, we know that those are the ones that matter more. But you just want a good time regardless. And
Right.
going back to that comment, we're talking about chugging 40s. I mean, I guess it depends on what it is. I mean, we can get some milk going here. I got a gallon of milk. We can start.
Yeah, we heard that from JJ a couple weeks ago. They're training for the the NFL here. We can't be doing that. So milk might be more appropriate.
Yeah, it might be.
I'm back, by the way. I had to insert another quarter into the Wi-Fi machine. So, all right. So you asked him about recruiting.
Yep.
I just want to know, kind of piggybacking off that, any interest from the Gophers being a Minnesota boy?
Yeah. So the Gophers weren't spectacular at football when I was growing up. My line coach in high school played for the Gophers, and I went on a bunch of visits there. And it wasn't really until I started getting interest from them that I was like, well, it would be really cool to play here. But it just didn't work out for whatever reason. There's tons of aspects of recruiting that go for whatever direction. But, after the recruiting process, you feel some ways about some schools and some about others just by how, you were treated or how the processes went. And
sure.
I mean, yeah, that's a dream for most kids coming out of Minnesota to play for that school. But I felt really, really good about where I was at when I was committing. And, like I said, I committed before my senior season. So, I had to have felt good about it to make that decision. And, it worked out. I knew I felt very confident. I knew what I was getting myself into,
You don't have his commitment picture handy, do you, Jake?
No, you were. I don't know if we should be doing that after the way JJ took his reaction from his.
He was pinned on my Twitter until about 2 weeks ago.
This is our last chance to get these guys before they're off to bigger and better things. So I'm all for it.
Yeah, that one's a brutal one because I'm telling you, you sit in I think the picture they used for my commitment picture. There's two of. Well, I guess there's the official visit pictures, and then there's the. I think my commitment photo was actually a picture from high school, like in my high school gear. But for the official visit pictures, I mean, you're riding in a car, your hair is all crazy, like you've just been, probably taking a nap in the car for 5 hours, and then you hop out. It's like throw this jersey on and take some pictures. So there's not really a way to be photogenic for some of those pictures sometimes. So there's some greasy photos of me out there on some of those junior days and stuff.
That's funny. Yeah, no, I'm not going to be able to find it too quick, so we're not.
You have a question coming in from, I'm guessing that's Grant in the comments.
Yep. That's our co-host hanging out in the airport down in Miami.
Yeah.
It's warmer than it is here, I guarantee that.
Right.
All right, so yes, we'll pull up his question here. What is the hardest position to play in football, and why is it center? Which I feel like is an accurate question.
This is fun. It's funny. I don't know if
so last week Jake mentioned to Aiden that center was harder than quarterback. So I want to know why.
I caught that. I did catch that mention. So it's funny. We argue about this in the O-line room about what's the hardest position in the O-line.
Yeah.
Okay.
And most of the guys haven't played all the positions like I have. Most of them will play guard and tackle, but haven't played center. So most of them don't know.
Yep.
They think I argue that center is harder just because I'm the center and I'm the senior, and I get to say whatever I want.
Mm-hmm.
But, I truly believe quarterback is the hardest position. Every position, especially on the O-line, has very different challenges, and it's actually surprising. When you watch a football game, it looks like we're all doing the same thing, and it doesn't look very different.
Right.
But each position is very different and has its own set of challenges. And I would say most of it has to do with space. as a center, you don't have the neutral zone that the rest of the guys do. And that can really change how your technique works. You don't have a lot of time to get your feet in the ground, and that can kind of make it hard to get going anywhere out of your stance right away when there's a dude breathing on you, and you can't really build up a ton of momentum. So, you want to come say hi?
Tell him to come on over.
Oh, the Pride of Pratt, Kansas, checking in.
Yeah.
Good work out there.
Pull up the rope swing video.
Yes, let's go.
But yeah, and then snapping the ball, obviously, while you're doing all that, it becomes muscle memory after a while. But like this year, I had some hand injuries that kind of changed how I had to snap the ball, and kind of had to relearn how to snap it after a few weeks there. But yeah, it's very unique. There's not another position that handles the ball and blocks people, and yeah, I mean, playing in the trenches on either side of the ball is extremely difficult.
Yep.
I want to know footwork wise, like, so you think of like left guards, right guards, left tackle, right tackle, like there's a certain cadence with the feet. And I would think going from left to right or right to left is difficult just because of that muscle memory with the footwork. But I want to know from a center standpoint, like, is that a thing? Like how does that work for a center?
Yeah. So directionally it is a little different. Obviously your feet stay even, but like going towards your snap hand and away from your snap hand does change a little bit because the snap comes first. So if you're like reaching one way and running the other, it does make it a little bit harder.
Okay.
But I would say, yeah, just like your muscle memory, like I still have a dominant foot. Like I played basketball. My left foot was my pivot foot. So sometimes I feel more comfortable pushing off that and going right than I do going left out of an even stance. But it's all stuff once you get enough reps. I mean, you do really get more confident with it. And I think kind of with the switch to offensive or outside zone this year with our offense, really having to learn how to like sprint off the ball gave me a lot of confidence moving out of my stance, going any direction. Like once like you got to open up and run and reach somebody, you got to figure it out. You don't really have a lot of time to be like, well, I don't really feel comfortable doing this or stepping this way or whatever. You snap the ball and you run and you figure it out. So, yeah.
All right. So I do want to ask for the pre-snap, you're helping with the reads on the defense though. Is that correct?
Yeah. So, it's different every offense for centers the way we did it. I'm normally going to call out the front. So if they're an even or odd,
okay.
And then I have to identify which linebacker we're accounting for. So I have to call that out for the tight ends and the running backs and the QB so they know, and then the rest of the O-line so they know like which guys we're going to, which guys we're taking care of. So yeah, I mean, there's certain things that come with it, and there's all kinds of calls we make if they're showing pre-snap and stuff like that, and you're in the middle of the offensive line, so if you don't see it and someone else sees it, you got to be able to get that message down to the other side of the line, or if you see it and no one else does, you got to be able to get it to both sides and communicate it so everyone knows what's going on. I think from a communication standpoint, as a center, the most important thing is just making sure we're all on the same page. Because it's like, even if we miss something, but we all miss it and we're all doing the same thing, we can be right and still make a play work. But if half of us hears it and we're all doing one thing and the other half isn't doing it, they don't hear it. Right. Your running back's probably pretty upset with you after the play or the quarterback because they're probably going to take a lick from it. So
right.
That's kind of what we say. If we're all wrong together, we can still be right, was a saying that we had, as long as we're on the same page. So I think
that's where like chemistry is so huge on the offensive line, Jake, because we talked about this before we got on here, but like just all five guys and what it takes to have a successful running game like we had and have had over the last several years. Just that, and I think that comes with reps, from a fan's perspective, it seems like it's just the more the guys play together, it gets better and better and better. So you're on the same page mentally, and kind of what you're alluding to there, Joey. But so I just want to bring that up too, and just and really just ask, like, why was our run game so good? Is it player scheme? You guys just playing together forever? Because I know you started 4 or 5 years in a row and umpteen games in a row. But like just a unit as a whole, like why was it so good?
Yeah, that's a good question. It's all of those. I mean, you look at the scheme. I mean, we took a lot of our schemes from teams that are running them really well in the NFL, at the next level, and stuff that's proven to work and that we knew we were capable of doing. And Coach Nady is a phenomenal coach, and he got us to the point where we could do them. And so there's a good chunk that's that. We had a great screen, great coaching, but yeah, also, I felt like as an offensive line, we were really good as a unit. We were usually always on the same page, and I'm excited for the guys coming back next year. Obviously, returning 4 out of 5, and even guys that aren't returning stars, we have a lot of experienced guys. Like Caden and Sam, who've played a lot of football. So we can't really go wrong there. We got guys returning, and it's going to be a cohesive group again. And if you have an offensive line that can work together and move the line of scrimmage, the sky's the limit. And then on top of that, you tack on just the skill players that we had. That little redhead that just walked by. He's a phenomenal football player. Even when we mess up, man, he can make 3 guys look silly and somehow find a way.
Exactly.
We got all kinds of guys. Charles. You give him a sliver of space and he'll crib it. So, JJ. It was a phenomenal team, phenomenal roster, and a lot of those guys are back. So, Kyle football's in good hands, and there's all those aspects that made us a powerful offense this year are going to be there still next year. So it's exciting.
And I just want to tack onto that one last time too, Jake, and just say, when he mentioned guys coming in, like, we noticed guys would go, like, offensive linemen would go down in a game and they might miss a quarter or a series or even the rest of the game, whatever, but we didn't see a drop off. And that's something, as a fan, Joey, I've said this to Jake, I have a very specific lineman height, weight that I'm looking for, and the recruits that we get and the guys that we put on the field. And it seems like the last couple of years, that's really where the biggest, in my opinion, the biggest jump that we've made as a program is really on the offensive defensive line. And so to see those guys step in that aren't starters in the middle of the game or for a game, if they had to, we didn't see a drop off in size or talent or anything. I think that's for me, that's like gives me the most hope for the future, that we're going to continue to dominate, in the trenches.
Yeah, I think we've got a lot of guys that give Coach Nady a tough decision week to week. We're deep, and that's a good thing. It gets to the point you almost feel bad for some of the guys because they're proven football players. They're really good, and they should be playing more. But that's how it works. But yeah, you look at our tackles who both had great seasons, and I think both went down at times. And seeing Caden come in, and it's kind of unfair for other teams. You get a guy go down, and you get a guy like Caden who's physically, he's pound for pound top 5 athlete on the team. You see the guy run and lift weights. He's a freak, and he's a really good football player. So, just having guys that can come off the bench like that, it adds a whole nother level to your football team, because you're never going to play a whole year and not lose a guy. For at least a little bit. And building off that, I've come into a football game mid-game where I wasn't starting, and I had to fill in for someone, and I can tell you it's terrifying. I just remember it was the COVID year. We were playing Missouri State, and I had played a little bit filling in for Mason Scheidegger, who was an all-conference player. He's really good, and I remember just standing there. I was literally thinking to myself, am I going to play? This is weird. I don't know what's going on. And next thing I knew, he was hobbling off the field, and that was when we were still a tempo offense. So we weren't huddling or anything. So I just remember I was running out, within 10 seconds, I'm standing there am I getting in today? And then 10 seconds later, I'm staring across from 40 linemen who want to rip my face off. So it's really hard to do, and we had guys come in and play good. So, it's good to see.
Yeah.
Yes.
Now, you mentioned Coach Nady. He has only been here for 2 seasons now, right?
Yep.
What has he brought to the program? Because it feels like not only has the depth been there, but the aggressive, the attitude, the rip the other guy's head off really seems to have skyrocketed with you guys.
Yeah. That's kind of who he is. He's a great guy, but he's instilled those values just by showing up and being that for us every day. Not that I'm saying he's rude or a jerk to us, because that's how we want to play, obviously. But it just came from this is the way he coaches, and what he's willing to tolerate and what he's not, and he's stuck to those values. And it's from the second he got here, every offseason, it's not like we just show up on practice week, when the season starts, and we're like, okay, we're going to do it this way. No, I mean, through winter workouts, the whole off season, he's instilling those values, and it just, the stuff you're talking about, like just being nasty, finishing every block, not letting a guy work harder than you. I mean, he'll stop the tape. Like on Sundays when we watch film, like a good part of that is watching the end of the play and seeing, like, is your guy closer to the ball than you? Like, are you letting your guy in on the tackle? Like, are you finishing your guy down the field? So stuff like that was just an added element, and it molded really well with the offense that we're running. Just the style where we're really getting off the ball and running and stuff like that. It just allowed us to play really nasty, and it was fun.
Yeah. Jake, I think it was Joey. It was either Joey or I can't remember. Somebody in the offseason leading up to this season said our O-line wanted to be nasty. I remember seeing that in an article. I can't remember who made the quote, but I bring that up to say, you mentioned Mason Scheidegger and those years, and I know back then you guys had the nickname the Hippos.
Yeah.
So I just want to know, like, the last year or two, did you guys have a nickname? Because we were kind of scratching and searching for it, but we couldn't find anything for you guys.
No, so we didn't do like a name, but we did a motto. So the 2 years that I've been with Coach Nady, he's had a motto for each one. And I think now that the seasons are over, I can share them. It was kind of like, our thing. Yep. We didn't like really say it to anyone outside of the team or the room or whatever, but the first year it was to the pool, which pool stands for pissed off offensive line. But like I said, we talk about like the values that he was, instilling in us, like from the get-go. It was, we're going to be a pissed off offensive line. And then this year it was run, which just means like we run the show, we run off the ball, like, everything that encompasses that, like it's on us. So, he does a great job of using things like that to motivate us and kind of set the track for the line that we're going to be each year.
I love it because I got so tired of hearing about the 605 hogs and all the, us getting pushed around and now to see us bullying teams. We said it, Jake, week after week after week this year. Like, we're just going to play bully ball. We're just going to own the line of scrimmage, run it down their throat. And if they want to stack the box, okay, then we're going to play action and throw it over your head. Like, and that's really, I mean, it's a joy to watch and to see us now on the aggressive and the offensive side of that and actually, doing that and not getting that done to us is fantastic.
Yeah, like I said, I'm not here to crap on other schools, but like, one, the whole state's 605, so like it doesn't even really work.
Yes.
And two, like it's just like every single high school, like half the college offensive lines are all saying hogs. Like we said hogs in high school. Like, it's just it's not,
it's that one's tired. It's old.
It's overdone.
Yep.
That's funny. I like it. All right, so I do want to ask now, Joey, as time as a Coyote is done for you, for next season, though, who are some of the O linemen that we should keep an eye out for that we might not have seen play yet?
I mean, it's like I said, I'm the only one leaving, and there's a lot of guys coming back. So, I mean, you've seen a lot of guys that can really play, but like they said, that depth is still there. Like I told you, Kane Ellingston. I mean, the kid can. I mean, he can push around weight, and he can run, and he can move. He's a really good athlete. Obviously 2 All-American tackles this year in Bryce and Joe, who've done a phenomenal job. And then, in the interior, Jordan Larson and Adrian Hawkins are, they're holding it down and they're playing really well. And, that center spot is, I mean, there's not a bad option that we got. I mean, there's a lot of guys who can play really high level. Sam Coles is really good. Josh Larson, the twin brother, he's doing a really good job. I don't want to leave people out. I feel like I should either name everybody or nobody, but like,
I hear you.
Dylan Burge is another guy that's been in the center room who's, done a heck of a job. And then we got a transfer in that I haven't had the pleasure of meeting yet, but, there's really good options. And I feel really good this season about the O-line moving forward, even if the same situation happens where we need guys to fill in or, we had so many guys this year. We just started rolling out 6 linemen, in the red zone a lot. So, stuff like that, like definitely going to be things to look for. You got young guys. All the young guys from this freshman class have lots of potential. Really tall, really long, really good athletes, and Jacob, Sam, and Brendan. So, the possibilities with this O-line room are endless, and Coach Nady is he's streamlining it. I mean, everyone's getting better at a really, really good rate. So
That's awesome. I honestly, I don't know how to say it's a good O-line or not based off of technique or anything like that. Just when I know the dude in front of you is laying on his back, because I know you're doing a good job. But I do know, I mean, it's talked about time in and time out. To build a program, it starts in the trenches, O-line and D-line. And so it's just really good to see not only what you did in your career and how you built it up, but now where the entire O-line is at as you exit. And I really feel like we're really on the cusp of having some pretty awesome O-lines for the rest of our time.
Yes.
I agree. Yep.
I want to say I'm going to miss the Wildcat down in the red zone with Travis. And you talked about bringing in that extra O-lineman, a couple tight ends. Like, I mean, that was just so fun to watch. And it was so damn successful. So I'm really going to miss that.
You know, there's the Wildcat was very successful for us, but there was a little piece of me that would freak out a little bit when we went Wildcat, because when you go from Aiden, who is a quite large frame, to Travis, you really got to get
the point.
And when you're in the red zone, you know, stuff happens even faster. So
Right.
You want to get that ball up quick. So you got to be extra accurate when Tice is in there. But he's got good hands, so he always held it down for us.
For sure.
All right. So we do have Ray in the comments here. He wants to know, what was the loudest game in the Dome?
Oh, man. You know,
this is your whole career.
Yeah. That's tough.
So complete game was definitely the most recent one against NDSU. I think from start to finish, that game was really loud. That atmosphere was amazing. Loudest moment. I mean, I was part of that Hail Mary at Speed State. I mean, that moment was hard to take in, just because of the chaos of it all. Like, I mean, it's called a Hail Mary for a reason. Like, the chances of that play happening weren't very good, and like just the eruption of the fans and like the team just running onto the field. Like, I didn't know what to do in that moment. It was kind of hard to take in, honestly. It was a bit of shock, but that was definitely the loudest moment. But yeah, I mean, those are the two. I mean, the beginning of the playoff game against NDSU last year obviously didn't, you know, we won't talk about the rest of it, but that was really loud, probably from a kickoff standpoint. That was really loud too. So
that first series.
Yeah.
The first series until they got the long first down, and then it was all kind of downhill from there. But the crowd was unbelievable that first handful of plays.
Oh, yeah. The crowd, I mean, especially this year in general, at the end of the season there for those playoff games and some of those last home games, man, I mean, that atmosphere was so fun. I mean, those are moments that we remember forever, and that's why we play. I mean, the fan support was awesome. You know, I think one thing that I noticed, I mean, not that I didn't notice it in years prior, but one thing that I just really took in a lot more this year was just like how into it these fans were. And, you know, like a lot of the players go up into the concourse after the game, and all the fans that came up to me, all the people that I got to meet, and all the people that were super passionate about Coyote football and stuff. I mean, knowing those people, being a part of your community, and like the fans showing out like that makes playing in the Dome so special. And it just adds such a nice element to being a Coyote. So those moments are, you know, cherished.
You know, I don't want that secret to get out, because I honestly had a blast going over to on the concourse and chatting up with all you guys, just telling you great game and moving on. Because, I mean, first of all, it's your time with your family too, again, to see them because they came for your game. I don't want it to get out, though, because there's not a lot of room to move around in there.
Yeah, it's hard to breathe in there. I mean, I'm still breathing from the game, but like, yeah, it's hot, sweaty. It's kind of icky in there. But
yeah. Now,
well, and you're usually probably tired from celebrating since you went undefeated at home this year. You know,
oh yeah,
you get your locker room celebrations. So you're tired from that too, and then you got to come up there and talk to people.
Yeah, the locker room celebrations are. I've almost fainted. I think during the NDSU one, like you're doing too much yelling to like let your body catch up with oxygen. It's like, yeah, you get pretty lightheaded, but it's worth it.
You sound like me while I was up in the stands. Honestly, I had to put my hands on the seat in front of me to brace, because I forgot to breathe in during that game.
So that actually brings up a point I forgot to mention. When we talk about the difficulties of playing center, it's extremely difficult to catch your breath for a few reasons. One, we have some guys that maybe I won't name, but Bryce, who doesn't like to get in the huddle because they're too busy like talking trash or something, or like like fixing his towel or something. So first, it's like rounding up the ducklings to get in the huddle, which
there you
requires
go.
some energy, and then like there's your small break to get your breath, right? Then you run up to the line, and then you're always yelling. So like you're always communicating calls or whatever, and like the time to catch your breath is way shorter than most positions. So we go back to why center's hard, man. It's anyone out there, help your center out, get in the huddle so he can catch his breath.
Right.
Well, and then what you got to hunch over afterwards between plays after the huddle and whatnot. I don't know. It's pretty difficult to breathe when you're bent over.
No, by the way, you're 300 pounds, so
No,
unreal.
I will say.
I didn't even think about that. That's a great point, by the way. I just rounding up everybody after the play.
We'll make a sign for Bryce next season.
Get in the huddle.
Tell him to get in the huddle. All right. So I will say, I do feel bad for you, Joey, because, I mean, you got to experience all the pops of the crowds at the stadiums. Being an O-lineman, obviously, people don't pop for anything that you guys do unless you truly lay out someone. I will say, though, every bit of it was appreciated on the O-line because, you might not have been the center point of it, but those pops all happened because of you guys.
It makes it a lot better when the players celebrate with you after they score a touchdown.
Yes.
I had a lot of celebrations with Tice, but if you go back and watch Charles Pierre, that dude scores the touchdown and runs straight to the sideline.
Yes, full sprint.
Every time after the game, I'd catch him in the locker room, like, dude, like we didn't celebrate a single touchdown together.
Because the refs will typically give you a couple seconds. I mean, you can't sit there for a minute and do your thing, but you can
That's
have a
fair. I
couple
mean, some of the
seconds to
long
celebrate.
ones, some of the long ones I'm pretty far behind, so
Right.
you can't knock them too bad for that. It takes me a while to chug down there, but but
going back to that 40 time, we got to get that 40 time up.
Yeah, exactly. But when you get your moment in the end zone there, there's it's it is what it is. I think I speak for all the O-linemen there. I mean, we thrive off of dominating the guy across from us. Like wins and touchdowns are a team thing for us, and that's all we need. So.
Okay, so coolest touchdown celebrations probably when a lineman picks up a running back and just kind of flies him through the air for a second. That's probably the coolest thing that I know.
Yeah, I never got to partake in that. I was trying to make celebrations with Keandre and Charles at the end of the year because they're really fast. So I figured we could make something funny off that, but never got around to it. I think there was a touchdown celebration done by Travis in one of our games this year that I don't know if necessarily the people who saw it right away knew what it was, what he was doing, but it's definitely my favorite one. I don't know if anyone knows what I'm referring to, but he took the belt off, if that makes any sense.
Oh, it was a belt? I thought it was a sword.
That's what it was. Okay, yeah, I thought we all thought it was a sword.
Okay, see, so there's a lot of people. See, I wasn't trying to expose him, but it was that's a pretty legendary one, especially because our media crew definitely didn't know what he was doing, and that was on the front page. That was on the cover of an Instagram post, right after the game. So. I thought that was pretty funny that he pulled that one out. So
how about the who was it? I can't remember. I don't think it was you. Might have been Cotton. Was it Joe Cotton? After the
dancer.
Yeah, I have a GIF of him dancing at UND after I think it was a Tice touchdown.
Yeah, that became a thing for them. I would have partaken in some of those probably, but I'm kind of the serious one on game days out of the group. We got a bunch of goofballs on the offense, so someone's got to balance it out a little bit. But yeah, they would plan their cute little dances and stuff, and I wouldn't even notice them until after the game. Coach and Eddie would grill them for it. It'd be funny, but like Bryce and Joe and Hawk, they love to plan their little dances and stuff.
That same game had a BS celebration call on Quran also.
Oh yeah,
that was horrible.
I'm sure everyone has their opinion on reffing, but I feel like this year, man, we must have done something wrong because I remember there was a play right before that where the UND guy caught that pretty nice touchdown on us on that jump ball, and I mean he was taunting our guy like crazy, and they didn't call anything, and we just spit the ball and no penalty, but.
I don't care what they do. I just want to see consistency from team to team, quarter to quarter, half to half. Like, just keep it consistent. If you're going to let it go, let it go.
Yeah, I can't imagine Coach Nielsen rides the refs like to a point where we would get,
right.
Like some of these coaches ride the refs a lot harder, I'm sure. So it's interesting to me, but I mean, it is what it is. We won through it anyways, but.
Exactly.
Okay, so favorite play, run or pass as a lineman? Well, I guess as a center for you.
I mean, my favorite was pin pull. Because I would get to pull outside of the tackle and go find a safety or something. Those are always, always fun. I do say though, like those plays are kind of double-edged swords because, you get someone big like me running out in space, you either can look really good or really bad, like, so like some of the fun ones, like the cron reverses and stuff, I get out on those and, I either look like an idiot or I'm like, oh, hey, he did something that, gave us a big play there. So, those are fun, but they're also, they can end up being on the opposite end too. Some like the screen passes and stuff. They're always like that.
Well, so part of it, and I now you mentioned the screen passes, like watching Charles Pierre and some of those, like he doesn't wait for you guys. Like he's just like, I'm fast, I'm gone. Like I'm not waiting. I'm just gonna go. Like doesn't let the blocks set up. Like, and same thing with Karan. Like he's so damn fast. Like he just beats the blocks to the edge, and it's hard to say. Like, would have it ended in a better result if he waited? I don't know. But those guys are so fast. Like they're just gone.
Yeah, Karan was good at beating the blocks on the reverse. He's so fast. I mean, I tried to get out there just as fast as I could just to give myself a chance. Maybe if it made the fake a little worse, I'm like, I got to get out there. But some of our screens, like being completely honest, we didn't spend a ton of time on screens. It wasn't something we wanted to major in a lot. We figured that we could get out of situations where we'd need them a lot by just pounding the rock and stuff. But there was sometimes like screens were just like a hot potato moment, just like, oh crap, just get it out. Like, screens are chaotic, like we're literally just cutting guys loose at the QB. So, those like you can draw up a screen however many times you want. It's never going to go like how you
according
draw
to plan. Yeah.
They're just all over the place. Yeah.
Yep.
All right. So now your time is done with the Coyotes, unfortunately. If we could have you back, we'd definitely take it.
Love to.
But I do want to ask, definitely looking at going into the NFL, what's that process been like for you? It's been a
little weird. Like the career ending as a Coyote, none of that's really even set into this point even. It probably won't until I, see them take the field, for the first time again. But it's been great. I mean, obviously being a Yote has opened, massive doors for me. I've got a master's degree too. And, it's all been great, but this process it's been pretty normal. I mean, I'm still training and that's what I would be doing at this time. Now it's just that I'm at home and my schedule's a little different, obviously not being a student, which is amazing because 6 years of school was more than enough for me. I was ready to be done. So, but yeah, I mean, right now it's just, it's trying to be a professional now, even, before the draft and stuff like that. I mean, trying to just really make your only responsibilities, focusing on taking care of your body right now. Trying to get to the best point possible for a pro day in March. And, like me and Nick are training together at one place and Carter and Travis are training at a different place. And, it's similar, but everyone's is a little different. Just waking up, making sure you're tracking your calories, eating exactly what you need to be. And then you're working out for about, 4-ish hours a day. So, it's like I said, it's not too different from being a college athlete, but I get to sleep in a little bit more for sure. And, not the school requirements.
Right.
Yep. All right. So is Nick on the verge of being able to jump over you? We saw that highlight.
Yeah, we saw that today.
I was holding that box and I'm like, this dude, he could have cleared me if he wanted to.
That's crazy.
Nick is he's an insane athlete. You're getting to train with him every day and seeing some of the stuff that he's able to do at his size. Just wait till pro day, wait till you see those numbers that he's about to put up. He is insanely gifted as an athlete, and he works really hard. Nick, I've been going against Nick my junior year in high school. When I was a recruit, I came to camp here and I got there and they're like, hey, there's this kid small town Iowa, he's a really good football player. We want to, we're going to be putting you up against him all day, because we want to see who's, we want to see if you guys are legit. So I got to know Nick, bright and early in my college football career, before I was even there. So, yeah, he's an insane athlete.
That's awesome. All right. So on your part, how's the 40 time going? Is it better than what it was in high school?
Oh yeah. I mean, this is the first time I've trained running like that. The goal is to be under a 5.3. We'll see. I mean, a lot of work to do. My running form is extremely ugly. So, we're smoothing it out more and more every day. I mean, it's crazy from, a 30-minute session of just running sprints and looking at your mechanics, how much you can fix. It's crazy. But, I feel pretty confident with how I'm going to test out, and I'm excited. This is a time that it takes a lot of work, and, I'm sore and beat up from the season still, and, trying to lift and work out really hard. And, getting to go to pro day and test out for NFL teams is gravy. That's right. Just a testament to the work that, we've been putting in. So I'm excited for it, but don't expect the 40 to blow your socks off is all I'm going to say.
I've never judged an O-lineman because they're 40.
No.
Unless it hits 6.
We'll watch the 10-second split. How about that?
Yep.
There you go.
That's all we care about.
10-yard split, not 10-second split. I'm not running for 10 seconds.
Can you give us a peek behind the curtain? I mean, any teams? I know we asked JJ this question, but talked with any teams or anything like that?
Yeah, so I had the chance to go play in the CGS Bowl down in Dallas, Fort Worth, which was a cool experience, getting to play against some high-level college athletes and getting to talk with a few teams. And I spoke with the Saints, Raiders, and Chiefs, and some of the talks were baseline, and some of them were just good interview conversations. And I don't think there's any inclinations from any of those talks that one of those teams is going to take me, or something like that. But certainly being able to sit down with them and have them get to know me and get to talk with them a little bit, it definitely helps. And I thought they were all really good conversations. So I wouldn't be surprised if one of those teams was more interested or willing to take me after those. But it's I don't have any sort of idea of what teams are interested or not. So,
well, if any NFL scouts listen to this, Jake and I can attest to it's not just the state schools that are putting good linemen in the NFL anymore. It's about to change, and it's going to change with this class from USD. So I am, I guess, just proud and as a fan, we couldn't ask for anything more to be represented, by guys like you who are going to be in the league, and that kind of image of USD is going to change, and it's already starting to change. And so can't wait to see more guys in the league and not just from the state schools around us.
Yeah, I really appreciate that. There's been a few guys, Brock and Jack, who have really, those guys are the trailblazers too. I mean, they've been so critical for us and our success. And then, even going back a few years to Tom Compton, he's been around. And he's had some really good conversations with us that have been super helpful. So, that's something that I hope to pass on too. I think Coyote football is definitely a growing brand, and it's going to have a lot of attention. And the guys like Bryce and Joe and all those linemen that are going to definitely earn themselves those opportunities. I just hope that this brand and what it's been able to do help them get there, and hopefully I can be what Brock and Jack have been for me, to all of them.
Yeah, I will say I don't think you could plan up a more perfect senior class to not only pass the torch to the young kids taking over, but then to also I feel like we're finally at the point where we're going to actually open the door. It's not just a couple guys sneaking in, but truly open the door for some Coyotes in the NFL.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. Yeah, Miles, obviously, a big part of that too.
Exactly. Oh, no. We can't forget him. He's been fantastic on that, but, now the flood's going to start.
Mm-hmm.
It really feels like.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Now, I do want to flip it. One last part. We always talk with our players about their career and whatnot, but nobody really talks to you guys about who you are. So I like to spend this time, just a little bit. What we kind of like to talk about your hobbies and stuff. So what do you like to do to fill your time when football's not on the schedule?
It's a good question. You kind of got to fall in love with your hobbies now leaving college, because there's a lot of things that I didn't necessarily have time for when I was there. But, I'm living with Nick, who is a avid ice fisherman, and I love fishing. I haven't really spent as much time ice fishing, but I've gotten the opportunity to go out with him a few times, and definitely something I'd probably pick up later down the road. I've enjoyed it. Wasn't really used to being on ice on a lake like that at first. It was definitely a little, I'm a big guy, so there's not a lot of things I can trust other than solid ground. I'm walking out on it. I didn't know it was supposed to like make loud cracks and stuff when you walk out there. So it was a little nerve-wracking at first, but I'm good now. But yeah, big fisher. I love just being outdoors in general. We live on the Mississippi out here, so like we, swim and hang out on the river all the time, that kind of thing. I'm trying to get back into reading a little bit now. Reading was kind of an off-season activity for me when I was in college. Definitely not my textbooks. Don't ask me about those, but now that I kind of got to be an adult, just trying to find things that will, help me, like investing stuff or career stuff, kind of like that. Try to pick up some books and continue to learn. So stuff like that. And then I guess really my biggest hobby since I've been home, I have been a decently regular attendee at bingo night, which is funny because I'm the youngest person there by like 30 years. But
that's hilarious.
It's a good little pastime just to get out of the house. We don't really do much other than train right now, so why not get a chance to win, a couple $100 and go sit, watch some basketball games or something, but
man,
we've been playing a little bit of bingo lately for sure.
I had, ideas of what you were going to say, but bingo was definitely, that wasn't on my bingo card.
I don't really match with the demographic of the bingo goers. So
that's hilarious.
Was that just, you made friends out in Portland? While you guys were doing your knitting circle,
I was going to say that crocheting that was done out in
I mean,
that's a good one.
Yeah, that was a funny experience. But I mean, the second you said Portland, I think my spine just shivered. Like that whole trip was just such a disaster. It's hard to. I don't even really ever go back to that trip. Honestly, that was that was interesting to say the least. Sorry.
Go ahead. No, go finish what you're saying.
It brought me back to North Dakota State during the COVID year. It was the morning of the game. We were about to play them. And we had that impromptu team meeting called, and then we found out the game was canceled. And we're like in the hotel room. We're about to leave. I'm like, I'm getting in the mode, whatever. And we get that text like team meeting in 15 minutes. And I'm like, oh man. But I'm like, what could it possibly be? Like,
right.
I
thought you'd seen it all.
Yeah, I mean, like I couldn't even imagine, and I didn't even know what whooping cough was, if I'm being completely honest with you.
Yeah.
Nor did I really care. I just wanted to play football. So
that's because it's been eradicated for like 100 years or something.
Yeah, I mean, mind blowing. I mean, I think a lot of people feel like that game cost us not playing. I mean, maybe, probably not, but it would have been nice to beat up on a Big Sky team.
Yep, for sure.
Yeah. All right, so. We're to the last question, unless Mitch got anything else.
I have a couple more, just rapid fire. Rapid fire here. Anoka, Minnesota. Is it true that that's the Halloween capital of the world?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So
what in the world? So my wife's from Minnesota originally, and she actually told me this when I mentioned that was your hometown. She mentioned that to me, and I was like, "What are you talking about?" Sure enough. All right.
Yeah, that's our claim to fame. So. I'll try to go quick. I know I'm a rambler, but so there's a lot of guys on the team from Sioux Falls, especially in the O-line room.
Yep.
They're very prideful of Sioux Falls. They talk about it a lot, but for some reason, whenever I bring up, the claim to fames of Anoka, they get a little butthurt about it. So if they're watching this, they'll know. But yes, that has been talked about. Some do believe me, some don't. But Grant Chapman is also from Anoka on the team, and so he I have this say. We always say A-Town stand up. It just bothers them. I don't know why, but that's our thing. I think but that's really Anoka's only claim to fame.
So, are you a big Halloween guy then? I mean, you go all out for the spooks?
I mean, I don't go all out. I do love Halloween though. Like I think fall's my favorite season, so kind of the Halloween festivities. Like it's kind of. Also things you probably wouldn't expect me to be saying, but like, carving pumpkins and that kind of stuff. Like I'm not necessarily a huge dress up guy, but like just the fall activities I really like. And in Anoka, there's a huge parade and the football team used to walk in it when I was playing here. So it's that kind of stuff. It definitely gets you in the Halloween mood, probably more than a normal kid growing up. So
yeah. Two more real quick. Valentine's Day is coming up. I want to shout out your mom, Sally Lombard Photography. She's a fantastic photographer. Took a lot of great team photos. And I was able to meet her. She came over and met me before one of the games. And so just want to say she's cool and love her work. And so Valentine's Day coming up, so don't forget about her. And then my 4-year-old daughter wanted me to ask you, and you mentioned having a girlfriend earlier, but she wanted to know if you had a sweetheart for Valentine's Day. I want to make sure that you were prepared for that coming up. Don't want you to lose sight that date's coming up.
Yeah. So my mom's listening to this right now. I'm surprised I haven't heard her freaking out upstairs. Like, oh my gosh. But, yeah, I do have a girlfriend. We've been dating for 9 months, and she's back at school right now in Vermilion. So
Okay.
we're trying to plan a little festivity for Valentine's Day if one of us could make it out to each other's town, but it's probably not going to happen. But it's just a holiday, so I'm sure we'll make up for it next time we see each other. I'll take her out or something. But yeah, it's gonna be a lonely Valentine's Day down in Anoka this time, it sounds like. But she's still the Valentine's Day sweetheart. We won't be in the same town. But
Well, shout out to what is it, Pied Pipers, the florist shop there in Vermilion. You can hook her up with some flowers.
hey, yeah, I got tricks up the sleeve.
All right.
You don't know about, yeah.
All right. I'm glad as long as you're covered.
Yeah.
All right. I think that's all I have, Jake.
Okay, so we're gonna get to our last one, which that was our warm up, our pre-show before we actually got to start. We already had this conversation, but go to Vermilion restaurant.
See, the food. This is where I come in. This is what you had me on for. You know,
I would expect alignment to know food.
Yeah, we don't ask the quarterbacks about the food, okay, Aiden? So I'll take over from here. Okay, first of all, chicken wings is one of my favorite foods. I like Leo's. It's a good spot, but it's just not the right take in my opinion, right? This isn't technically Vermilion, but if you want the wings, you got to go out to Meckling.
Yep.
You got to get the Toby's chicken wings. Monday, they got a great deal on them.
Yes.
Those will change your life, okay? First things first. If you're staying in Vermilion, Alfredo's, I actually thought had very underrated chicken wings. They only have them so often because they said the market price was too expensive. I don't know. I called and they told me they didn't have them. I got upset. It's whatever.
Yeah.
That's what Toby's is for. They always have the chicken wings. But my favorite spots, Hartford was always the post game. Go get a fat slab of prime rib. That was always really good.
All right.
I think kind of what turned into be the little like during the week quick go-to spot was Fayuca. That's the new little Mexican joint there. That place is outstanding.
I've not been there yet, Jake. Have you?
It's hard to replace Viejo.
Yeah,
So.
I've not been to the new one.
Okay, so yeah, well, so Mamacita's is the new actual like sit-down Mexican joint.
Yeah.
Fayuca is in the old Pizza Hut.
Pizza Hut, yeah.
And
Okay.
I will say I've had things there that are decent and some that are better. So I'll put everyone listening on right now. You got to do the birria tacos.
Okay.
And then you got to get a side of queso. And so they're going to come with the birria dip and the queso dip, right? And you got to double dip those. And it's the best Mexican food you've had.
Let's go.
And if you want other good Mexican food, Blue Tequila and Elk Point.
Elk Point, yes.
That's very good. Yeah.
That one's kind of under the radar because it's a little outside Vermilion, a little further than maybe Wimps or Toby.
Yeah, it's kind of off the beaten path a little bit.
Yeah, but no, that's worth the drive.
Yeah, it's really good. And then I think those are the main spots. I mean, we'd go to Wimps once in a while. All the places, Brick House is obviously really good, but our pizza will forever be that will forever be a favorite. We talk about the wings too. What a lot of people didn't know is our pizza had really good chicken wings, even though it was a pizza place. So, I mean, there were some times in my earlier days of college when I was a little bit wider. A good Friday night, you're smashing a whole pizza and a couple of wings from our pizza. That was my favorite meal for most of my college career. But rest in peace.
Yep.
All right. So I know what's happening now. Next year. For your bye game, when you come down for a Vermilion game, we'll have wings at the tailgate.
Oh
yeah,
you just gotta keep us in the loop, and I
Smoke.
have to go.
Hey, we could smoke some.
Hey,
now we're talking.
I'll throw the smoke in the pickup truck.
Let's
we can
go.
make some work. That's kind of my cup of tea there. think you were in for that. Yeah, we were talking about that earlier. I got a pork belly going in
Yes.
tomorrow, so excited about that. But the tailgate, that's probably the worst part about being a football player is you do not get the tailgate.
Right.
You get to walk through it every time, and you just kind of get to see, oh, look at how much fun everyone else is having. I mean, we're about to play a game, which is obviously fun, but I'm very excited to come back and get to be a part of the game day atmosphere. And kind of see what that's like too. As much as I'll be missing playing, but
I think that's what we need to do. We need to turn the back to pack into the new brotherhood spot for all the young guns to hang out at.
There you go.
It'll be a party.
I'm good with that. All right. Mitch, do you got anything else?
Nope. Just I think Yote fan said it best in the comments. If you want to throw his up there, we'll end on that.
Oh, yeah. I mean, this is the best way to sum it up. I tell you what, Joey, you guys as a senior class, this has been an absolute blast watching you. We appreciate everything that you put out there on the field, time spent in the film sessions. 6 years, long time.
Yeah.
And we appreciate every step of it. And all I can say is you left Coyotes in great hands.
Yeah.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Like I said, it's the fans really made it truly special. I mean, we worked really hard, and we went through some pretty rough times to get to some pretty good times, and that's all stuff that I'll be able to hang my hat on, and I know I speak for all the seniors with that, but really the fans, I think, one of the moments that I remember the most after we scored the touchdown against North Dakota State to take the lead with no time left. I just remember that walk to the sideline after that, and that was kind of one of the first times I really got to just stand there and take in the fans, and that response and just that feeling you get. I mean, it's the coolest thing in the world. So I hope everyone in Coyote Nation knows that it wouldn't be as special as it was if we weren't playing in front of the Coyote fans, and that's what we do it all for. So thank you guys, and it's been a great journey. So I appreciate everything.
Well said. I just want to say thank you, Joey. I mean, all you guys, the senior class, phenomenal. Just true Yotes all the way. And, you couldn't give us a whole lot more. Just the ups and the downs, everything. It's made it all that much sweeter.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
Perfect. Well, I think that's a perfect ending spot. So with that being said, go Yotes.
Go Yotes.
Go Yotes.